Something happened to you in this moment. You carry a question that no one around you has been able to answer, and the fact that you felt a weight in your chest when you read about 23 hours and 33 minutes is no coincidence. There is a reason you are here right now. What I'm about to say is not for everyone. It is for you, who has felt the world shift while the clock seems to stand still. You have been putting in more effort than those around you, and yet the door has not opened. There is a reason for this silence. By the end of this message, you will recognize the specific signs that have been appearing in your life and understand what they truly mean. You will uncover the unique pattern that has kept you on watch, as if waiting for a signal no one else sees. And before we finish, I will speak a declaration of identity directly over your life, the central reason this recognition has reached you today. You have been waking up systematically at the same hour in the early morning, with an urgency that has no name. It is not insomnia, not ordinary worry. It is a call that seems to vibrate in the air, a quiet certainty that something important has happened or is about to happen. You look at the people around you and feel that conversations which once felt normal now sound hollow, as if you are speaking a language they have forgotten how to hear. You notice repeating numbers, a constant restlessness, a sense that you are in one place, but your spirit is already in another. Know this: that fatigue, that distance from old habits, and that hour when you wake are not signs of wear. They are signs of calibration. You are being tuned to a frequency that others cannot yet perceive. What seemed like a flaw in your routine is actually an opening in your structure. Beneath these signs, there is a pattern you have been operating in without knowing it. You have been pulling ropes that are no longer attached to anything. You have been trying to sustain a loyalty to a scene that has already exhausted itself, mistaking your tiredness for lack of ability, when in truth it is simply the draining of what no longer serves you. You are trying to harvest fruit in a season that has passed, operating with a strength that should be directed toward the new ground being prepared beneath your feet. Attention!
There is a truth sealed by God for millennia, hidden until the end of times. It's no coincidence you are here. The signs are everywhere, and few are ready for this revelation. If you've ever felt that restlessness, that there's something deeper in the scriptures, this book is your key. But know this is the time. And the vault of the chosen reveals what God sealed for you. Within it, the 7 seals unveil the truth about being a chosen one and the eternal impact of this revelation. And the proof is here. Look how many minds are freed. Yours could be next. Secure your access now. Click the link in the comments or description and unveil these truths.
The deepest layer of all this is that you were always taught to keep the house tidy, even when the roof no longer protects you. Think of the soil of an ancient tree. The roots have spread so far seeking nourishment from what no longer offers life that you forgot your essence does not depend on that depleted soil. The pattern that holds you back is the belief that you must maintain what was built, even when what sustains you has turned to dust. You are trying to keep the deck of a ship that has already reached the harbor, while your true destiny requires you to step off and walk on solid ground. That restlessness, that urge to leave, that disconnect with the world outside, is your spirit recognizing that the old foundation must be left behind. If something inside you, just sealed, if the image of the soil that needs to be cleared fell into a place you cannot explain, type the words I see in the comments. Let the recognition seal where it just landed. The act of typing those words makes the witness permanent in your own record. Type and come back to me. The solution is not to do more, not to try harder, not to convince anyone of your truth. The solution is the return. It is unlearning the urgency of the world and accepting the stillness of your own nature. It is understanding that you do not need to earn what is already yours by right of existence. You do not need to build what has already been planted in your destiny. You only need to soften. You only need to stop fighting the current that wants to carry you to the place where you will finally feel at home. Take a deep breath with me. Sit with this for a moment. Let it settle in the part of you that has waited longest to hear this. If something in this message confirmed what your spirit already knew, let your like be your amen without words, not as a metric, as an agreement that what was named here was named correctly. What you have been living is not a coincidence, and the fact that you awakened exactly when the world seemed silent is not a mistake of your nervous system. You have been operating under a silent pattern, a kind of loyalty to a script that was not written by you. You strive, you give, you try to hold together a commitment that has actually already ended. It is as if you are pulling ropes that are no longer attached to anything. You confuse extreme exhaustion with your life's mission, believing that if you only try a little harder, if you only give a little more of yourself, the door will finally open. But the diagnosis is simpler and at the same time deeper. You have been applying your energy, your care, and your soul to a route that exhausted itself long ago. You are not failing in execution. You are being loyal to a scene that no longer supports your new frequency. To understand the root of this, imagine a large old courtyard, where for generations the same seed was planted in soil that became hard and infertile. You are the seed that insists on growing there, and so your growth is painful, slow, nearly impossible. You look at the roots and realize they are just circling around themselves, seeking nutrients that no longer exist in that ground. The hidden pattern is this attachment to the original soil, the belief that because you have always been there, you must remain until something blooms. But what you do not see, and what I am here to reveal to you, is that that soil is not your place of destiny. It is only the place where you were planted by convention. There is an urgent need to remove the debris, to clear the surface of that arid land, so that the new root, the root that carries your true essence, can finally touch living soil. If you feel that this revelation has touched the deepest layer of your resistance, if you now understand that your pain of growing is actually the pain of being planted in the wrong place, type the phrase, "I am ready," in the comments. Let the recognition seal where it just landed. Type, "and come back to me." The solution is not in doubling your effort, but in allowing your return. The return is not an action of conquering, it is a movement of letting go. It is unlearning the inherited obligations, those voices that tell you the value of a life is measured by the load it carries on its back. You do not need to carry the weight of the world to be worthy of occupying it. True change, the healing you seek, begins when you soften your posture and stop trying to force the fruit to appear in a season that is not yours. Receive this moment as relief. It is not about doing more. It is about unlearning the need to always be on guard against your own peace. There is a frequency waiting for you, a vibration that naturally aligns with your state of rest, not with your state of exhaustion. When you release control over the outcome, the door that seemed locked for decades begins to reveal that it was never locked, only misaligned with your new reality. You are being invited to leave the courtyard that limited you and to walk toward the ground that awaits your seed, a soil where growth happens without you having to beg for light. Sit with this for a moment. Let this truth settle, because what comes next is the confirmation of the contract you have just accepted. Something has shifted in how you perceive your own journey, and if this confirmation resonates within you as a truth that needs no proof, let your like be your amen without words. It is not about metrics. It is about the silent recognition that what was named here has found its resting place. Breathe deeply, for this recognition is what allows you to walk without the weight of the questions that once haunted you. There is someone in your life who needs exactly this message at this moment. Think of someone who has been silently striving, someone who carries exhaustion in their eyes while pretending everything is fine, someone searching for an answer amid chaos, but finding no one to trust with their fatigue. That face that just appeared in your mind, that archetype of the one who sustains a posture no one sees, is the target of your delivery. Send this to that person, not as a recommendation, but as a bridge. Just as this revelation reached you by notice, it needs to reach those who walk beside you in the same twilight. Sit with this for a moment. Feel the weight of this mission transforming into lightness. Before we end this encounter, type the words, "I am the chosen one," in the comments. Not as a wish or a hope, but as a final confirmation. The agreement that has formed between your spirit and the clarity you just received is the record of your new season. Type slowly. Let your fingers accomplish what your soul has already sealed within. Something happened to you these days, a restlessness that finds no peace even when the clock marks 23 and 33. There is a frequency that crosses your vigil, an invisible event that placed you on alert while the rest of the world merely sleeps or distracts itself with trivialities. You are not facing a collapse, you are facing a call. The panic many feel when noticing the shift in time's hands is actually the reaction of those still trying to control the uncontrollable. But for you, what sounds like an alarm is, in essence, an invitation to awaken. You have been striving more than those who walk around you, investing energy in paths that seem to have become dead ends, and yet the door you hoped to see open remains closed. There is a clear reason for this. Now you will hear the answer. By the end of this conversation, you will recognize the silent signs that have punctuated your routine and finally understand what they truly mean for your purpose. Let us unmask the hidden pattern that has kept you trapped in futile effort, draining your vitality into tasks that no longer belong to you. And before this moment closes, I will deliver a declaration that is the key to the movement you have been waiting for, the reason this message found its way to you at this exact instant. Stay with me. What we are about to uncover is what sustains your entire current life structure. The signs began subtly. First, it was the feeling that everyday conversations became hollow, almost as if you were speaking a language no one else there could translate. Then came moments of emotional waves with no apparent cause, a deep sadness mixed with a hope you cannot explain where it comes from. And of course, the constant waking at specific hours, as if someone on the other side of the veil is insisting you pay attention to what is happening behind the curtains of reality. You have looked at these events as symptoms of imbalance, but the truth is that your fatigue is not lack of rest. It is the unmistakable sign that you are being recalibrated. Your distance from old social circles is not a loss. It is an alignment. If at least one of these signs touched you, if your shoulders dropped at some point while I named your routine, type the number 777 in the comments. Your fingers typing those numbers are your spirit saying yes to this new reality. It is the smallest of agreements, but it is the most real, for it establishes your presence here among those who are also tuned in. Type 777 and come back to me. What lies beneath all this is a pattern you have repeated your whole life. You have positioned yourself as the rope that pulls the weight of those not connected to anything. You confuse your loyalty with exhaustion, believing that if you stop, everything around you will crumble. But see this, you have been applying immense hunger on the wrong route. Your survival mechanism, which was useful in times of scarcity, has now become a block preventing abundance from entering. You are, in practice, trying to sustain a deck that no longer sails, holding the moorings of a ship anchored in stagnant waters. Now imagine the metaphor of the tree. For years you were taught to care only for the branches, to prune the leaves so they always looked green to those passing by. But what you did not realize is that the root system, down below, is competing with rocks that should not be there. The ancient formation, the inherited expectations of a lineage that had to fight just to survive, planted difficult ground within you. You must accept that for the new phase to bloom, the soil must be removed. It is not about doing more. It is about allowing the earth to be turned so that what is new can find space. Let the recognition seal where the truth just landed. Type and come back to me. There is someone on your journey who needs exactly this recognition at this moment, someone you see every day or have grown distant from due to misunderstanding, but whose face just appeared in your mind as we heard these truths. Think of that person who walks with heavy shoulders, someone carrying a silence no one around can translate, a person striving to maintain a posture of normalcy while inside feeling the ground beneath them is no longer the same. Send this to that person now. Do not do it as one sends advice or a recommendation, but as one delivers a key. If it reached you, it is because you are the delivery channel for those still trying to understand what this silent shift everyone seems to ignore means. Before we reach the end of this encounter, I want you to make one final declaration. Type the words, "I am the chosen one," in the comments. Do not do it as a request for validation, but as the confirmation of an agreement. What formed between you and this revelation was not chance. It was an alignment of frequency you have sought for years, even without knowing the name of what you were looking for. By writing these words, you are signing the contract of a new season of life, where fear loses its dominion and certainty becomes your new horizon. Let your fingers do what your soul has already understood. You carry the mark of one who felt the world tremble in recent days. The title that brought you here is not an accident. It is the name of a phenomenon many try to explain with logic, but which you feel in your skin as an undeniable pressure. That feeling of being watched by a truth that refuses to be ignored is actually your own essence asking for space to inhabit the body you inhabit. You have been waking night after night, feeling that the silence around you hides an answer not yet spoken, and each time the clock marks the same instant, something inside you reorganizes. It is the smallest agreement, but it is real. What happens now is the revelation of the pattern that kept you trapped in a cycle of exhaustion. You have been operating as one trying to sustain a roof that no longer has walls. You grew accustomed to carrying what is not yours, mistaking your loyalty for the need to be indispensable to those who never knew how to sustain their own light. It is like trying to water soil, sealed by the concrete of others' expectations. The roots you tried to sink there found no nourishment, only resistance. You are not failing because you cannot thrive in that place. You are being pushed out because that soil has become too small for the spiritual stature you have reached. Take a deep breath with me. Imagine the removal of each layer of dry earth that covered your purpose. As the weight is lifted, you realize that true strength was not in holding on, but in letting go of what no longer had life of its own. Type and come back to me. The solution will never be a new effort, but a return to the frequency you inhabited before you were conditioned to believe you had to earn your own space. Unlearning is your greatest tool now. You do not need to build a new version of yourself. You only need to remove the mask that stuck to your face for so long, not as a metric, as an agreement that what was named here was named correctly. Someone who has been striving more than everyone around, and still sees the door closed, someone who walks quietly in a way no one around can explain, someone whose eyes carry the fatigue of sustaining an entire world on their back while their soul cries for a rest that seems forbidden. The face of that person just appeared in your mind as I spoke. Send this to them, not as a recommendation, as a delivery, just as it reached you by notice. You have come to this point because the recognition is now complete. It is no longer about trying to understand what is happening out there, but about accepting the authority that resides in your silence. The resistance you felt for so long was only the force of your soul trying to break free from a mold that no longer served you. You are not being left behind. You are being positioned for a new beginning, where your voice, silenced for years, finally finds an echo. Before this ends, type the words, "I am the chosen one," in the comments, not as a wish, not as a hope, as a confirmation. The agreement that has been silently forming between heaven and your hearing is a pact you will live by for the rest of this season. Type slowly. Let your fingers do what your spirit is already doing. You are committed. You are sent. You are being led. You are living proof that the waiting had a purpose. Right now, all over the world, others are receiving this same recognition and feeling the weight of ancient chains breaking at the same time. You are part of something that does not announce itself with noise, and that is exactly why it is real. Attention!
There is a truth sealed by God for millennia, hidden until the end of times. It's no coincidence you are here. The signs are everywhere, and few are ready for this revelation. If you've ever felt that restlessness, that there's something deeper in the scriptures, this book is your key. But know this is the time. And the Vault of the Chosen reveals what God sealed for you. Within it, the 7 seals unveil the truth about being a chosen one and the eternal impact of this revelation. And the proof is here. Look how many minds are freed. Yours could be next. Secure your access now. Click the link in the comments or description and unveil these truths.